Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all well. So in this video we are going to be reviewing season 4 of Riverdale. Now I am a massive fan of Riverdale. I feel like it's such a brilliant show, super captivating, brilliant cast and all that sort of thing. But I just feel like season 4 was a real mixed season because, you know, it didn't necessarily have the great quality storytelling that it usually does, as well as the great character development and character direction that it normally does. So it was definitely a mixed season. But you know, I know Riverdale generally gets a bit of a criticism and a lot of a critique in terms of it being a bit over the top, being a bit crazy with all of its storytelling, such as the whole Gargoyle King debacle in season 3. But I personally embrace it. I feel like it's alright if you have crazy storytelling, provided it's executed and the narrative is really, really strong. So I usually do embrace it. But like I said before, I just feel like with season 4, it just had some great moments, but some not so great moments. So overall, it was just a bit of a mixed season, whereas the first 3 seasons have been consistently really, really good. So I feel like comparatively, it's not as strong as the other ones are. And you know, it didn't get to conclude the season necessarily in the way that it wanted to because of the whole pandemic. But that said, it did still end on a bit of a cliffhanger. And I cannot wait to see what season 5 brings for the show. Speaking of which, I will do some predictions at the end of this video. But anyway, let's get on with the review for season 4 of Riverdale. So in terms of the storytelling in season 4 of Riverdale, it was really, really mixed. Like I said before, there were some episodes where I was like, what is going on with Riverdale? Why is it not that great? Why is it not as great as the other seasons have been? And I was a little bit disappointed, borderline, you know, ready to start a new show. But I thought, you know, I've been a loyal fan to Riverdale, I'm going to see it to the end. And it does get better for sure, but it was just a little bit disappointing compared to other seasons. But anyway, let's go through the main storyline strands for this season. So it opens up with the brilliant dedication to Fred Andrews. I feel like they did a really moving tribute for this character and for the late Luke Perry, which was really, really nice. They even had a guest cameo appearance by Shannon Doherty, who obviously the two of them had a great acting relationship on Beverly Hills 90210. So that was really nice to kind of have her in there and have a real nice dedicated episode for the Fred Andrews character. So that was really, really nice. But after that episode, I just feel like the Archie Andrews character just had one bad storyline after the other, because it was just an incredibly boring gym/youth centered storyline around kind of keeping the kids off the streets and keeping them away from Dodger and his gang. And I just feel like that was a really, really poor executed storyline. It got a little bit better when Fred Andrews' brother came into the mix and started causing a little bit of trouble for the construction business, Fred Andrews Construction, and for Archie himself and his gang and all of that sort of stuff. So I feel like that storyline was, you know, a bit more exciting and kind of redeemed the character a little bit, but it was really short-lived. So I just feel like the Archie Andrews solo storylines this season were really, really weak. He was a lot stronger when he was with the rest of the Core 4. So as part of the group of Core 4 characters within Riverdale, Archie Andrews was a lot stronger, but in terms of his storylines, in terms of his solo-led storylines this season, they were really, really weak. We also had the conclusion of the Farmy storyline, which was really, really interesting, a big storyline in the previous season, and was really nicely concluded in this season with the death of Edgar. So that was really, really interesting, and kind of having Alice Cooper back in her element in terms of the really great partnership between Betty and Alice Cooper, so that was really nice to see. We also had a few cameo guest appearances from the Polly character, and she is still a little bit of a psycho, so no real change over there. And we also had the new brother, who is Charles, and he was a great addition to the group and really helped out Betty with all of her storylines. There was that little moment where you discover that Charles and Chick have a bit of a connection, and that hasn't really been re-explored yet, so I'm sure it'll be something that we get to see more of in the next season. We then have the other continuation, which was the whole storyline to do with Cheryl Blossom still having the body of her late twin Jason Blossom and kind of keeping him in the Thistle House church area, and then how she also thinks that the other triplet, Julian, is now in the doll and is kind of possessing the doll and is doing crazy scary stuff. So that was a really interesting kind of concluded storyline strand from the previous season. We also have a new principal joining, Mr. Honey, and he was just causing a lot of drama and headache for the gang in terms of cancelling prom, in terms of destroying Reggie's car, and kind of being in the video store. So we're really interested in kind of have the videotape element of the storyline concluded in the next season as well. We then have Veronica Lodge's mysterious new sister joining the group that she didn't even know existed, and her kind of changing the dynamic up between Veronica and Hiram. I feel like this was a nice storyline potential, and they did explore it really, really nicely. I just feel like they could have done a lot more with it. I feel like the dynamic between two new sisters, Veronica and her brand new mysterious sister, and Hiram in there, and Hermione in there, I feel like they really could have made the Lodge family unit really pivotal this season, especially with this new dynamic. And like I said, they did do a lot with it, but I just feel like they could have pushed it a lot further. We then had the tickling storyline with Kevin, and I feel like this really demonstrated how they're scraping the barrel and really are running out of storyline ideas. It got a lot better when kind of Reggie and Fangs got involved, and they were kind of setting up their own tickling business to rival the first one, and then the kind of bitter rivalry that kind of leads on to. So that was interesting, but I just feel like from a storyline conception point of view, it really just shows that they are kind of running out of ideas. The musical episode this season was not as great as the other seasons. The other seasons, the musical episode is kind of like a big landmark moment, and this season I just feel like it was really, really weak. That being said though, contrastly, I really liked the episode where they had a psychiatrist kind of examining all of the different characters and kind of giving advice and really understanding their situations and really helping them through and getting through to the next level. So I feel like that dedicated episode was a lot better. We then had the Archie and Betty relationship being re-explored, very long overdue, and I cannot wait to see the fallout from this crazy re-exploration of that relationship. And equally, I cannot wait to see the fallout from the videotape storyline as well. That was super, super fascinating in terms of these mysterious videotapes coming up from all of the secrets that all of the group are keeping, and now is on videotape format with the comic book version of these characters. So that would be super, super interesting to see the fallout of that storyline. I have a sneaky suspicion that Jughead's mum is the one behind that, but we'll be able to see next season. Speaking of Jughead, I feel like he really saved this season. So the whole storyline in terms of what really happened to Jughead at the end of season 3 and kind of peppered throughout this season in terms of is he dead, is he not dead. That whole storyline was super, super interesting. And the linked storyline to that was all of the Stonewall prep storyline, all of the Baxter brother books, all of the crazy other students at Stonewall prep, and then getting Betty involved in that storyline. Definitely Riverdale at its best. It was super gripping, super fascinating, super fun. And I just feel like Cole Sprouse's character of Jughead Jones and Lili Reinhart's character of Betty Cooper really saved this season, because like I said before, the storyline was kind of very, very mixed from a collection point of view, and I feel like Jughead Jones and Betty Cooper really saved the day with all of the Stonewall prep storyline and the what really happened to Jughead storyline. So like you can see, the storyline from my perspective at least was very mixed this season, but overall was definitely one to watch if you haven't seen it already. From a characters and actors point of view, I absolutely love all of the cast of Riverdale and equally all of the characters in Riverdale as well. I feel like they've got a brilliant cast and the characters are super, super compelling. It's just a shame, like I said before, that the storyline material let down some of the characters. But let's go through them one by one. So KJ Apa, I feel like, is a brilliant actor, but unfortunately I just feel like the storyline material for him in this season at least just was not that great. Like I said before, the Fred Andrews funeral storyline was incredibly moving and he did a really, really good job in that. But all of the other solo storyline material just was not that great. He was a lot better when he was in the group storylines, but as far as his solo material went this season, it was not up to scratch. We then have Lili Reinhart as Betty Cooper, and she is always saving the show. I feel like in every single season, Betty Cooper has definitely got the best storylines, and I feel like the actress just delivers the character so well, and she did a brilliant job in taking down both the farm and the Stonewall prep guys along with Jughead Jones, which is really, really cool. We then have Camila Mendes, who's equally always a really consistent performer. Really, really good storylines in terms of the other previous seasons. I feel like the other previous seasons were probably a lot stronger for this character. Here she was alright, but I just feel like, like I said before, she has done better in other seasons. And I wish that they had just pushed the Lodge family aspect of the storylines a lot better, because, the Lodge family arguably is probably one of the best families, and especially now that they've got a new Lodge family member in there, they really could have done a lot more with it before they're going to potentially do their 5-year jump next season, which is a shame that they didn't really explore that more. But at least for what she did do in this season, the Camila Mendes, Veronica Lodge character was really, really decent. We then have Cole Sprouse as Jughead Jones, and I honestly feel like he's saved this season. His two main big storylines in terms of what really happened to Jughead Jones, is he dead or is he not dead, and the takedown of the whole Stonewall prep guys was absolutely brilliant, super, super captivating, definitely the best two storylines in this entire season, and they're both fronted by the Jughead Jones character, so I definitely feel like he definitely saved this season. Cheryl Blossom's character was really nice in the beginning, at least. I really liked the whole exploration about, is the doll of Julian kind of haunting her? Is the whole Thistle House a haunted mansion? The other Blossom family members, when they kind of came into the Thistle House trying to take it over, and Cheryl kind of stopping all of them, was super, super interesting. But after that, I feel like the Cheryl Blossom character just kind of faded into the background a little bit, which is a real shame. Kevin and Reggie, I feel, were criminally underused in this season. Really, really cool characters, but just putting them into that tickling storyline was a really weak use of their characters, so that was a real shame. Tony, I feel, was just supporting Cheryl here and there with the whole storylines over there, so it wasn't really that much used in this season. Along with the parents, they were hardly used here as well. In the other seasons, it's been a real nice balance of kids and parent storylines, whereas the parents were just real wasted, I feel, in this season. They were kind of helping the group in terms of taking down Mr. Honey, but apart from that, I feel like they were really underused. I feel like Mr. Honey was a really nice character as well. He, again, wasn't really that well used here. He was kind of annoying all of the different teenage characters, but apart from that, didn't really do too much. I really like the whole fiction storyline that Jughead Jones was typing away in terms of the group trying to get away with murdering Mr. Honey, and then all of the group kind of turning on each other, and then Jughead Jones rewriting this after he found out that Mr. Honey was supporting his college application. So that was a really, really nice use of that character within the whole storyline. But overall, I just feel like the cast are absolutely brilliant in Riverdale, but I just feel like they definitely weren't able to show their A game in this season. But that being said, I hope the next season we're able to see these characters back in their glory days for season 5 of Riverdale. In terms of the visuals, I definitely feel like this is where Riverdale definitely comes into its own, because it's definitely got its own identity within this space in terms of being really dark and gritty and having a bit of a noir setting, and I feel like it works super, super well for the show, and in particular for this season, and also contrasting that with the whole Stonewall prep ambience and how that can kind of fit in with the whole Riverdale world, and how that can kind of work with all of the other storyline settings and set pieces and characters and all of that sort of stuff. So I feel like from a visuals point of view, the show is really strong, and this season was really strong as well. In terms of comparisons, I do still feel that Riverdale is a very strong show in terms of all of the other shows out there in the market, but in terms of comparing it to other seasons within Riverdale, I definitely feel like it's unfortunately the weakest one so far. I really loved season 1 in terms of Who Killed Jason Blossom, season 2's Black Hood storyline, season 3's Gargoyle King storyline, despite the negative publicity that the storyline was having. Whilst the whole Stonewall prep, Who Killed Jughead Jones, is he dead, is he not dead, storyline was really, really great. The rest of the storylines unfortunately made this season not as great as the other seasons have been for the show. But that being said, like I said before, it is still a great show overall. So comparatively to other shows in the market, I definitely think it's still one to watch. But in terms of comparing it to other seasons within the Riverdale catalogue, it's not as great as other seasons have been. In terms of my predictions for season 5 of Riverdale, I feel like they'll definitely conclude all of the storyline strands that they've started towards the end of this season. So we'll obviously have the graduation ceremony, which will be really nice. Hopefully all of the gang can graduate and move on to college life. I feel like we'll also have the reveal of the whole Archie and Betty storyline in terms of the whole fallout of everyone finding out that these two had a bit of a thing going on. And I think that that will happen in the whole prom storyline for the next season. We'll obviously find out who is behind all of the videotapes that are showing all of these crazy situations that have happened in the other seasons on videotape format. Like I said before, my suspicions are that Jughead Jones's mother is the one behind all of this. I feel like we'll have a bit more of an exploration with Veronica and her sister, which will be really, really nice. I feel like Hiram Lodge will become the big bad of the show again. Is he faking his illness? Is that real? Is that not? who knows, I feel like that would be a big reveal for next season. We obviously unfortunately have the departure of FP Jones and Hermione Lodge, which will be really sad, but it'll be interesting to see how they write these two characters out. And then we also have the 5-year jump, so that'll be really interesting. I feel like they're doing that because they want the characters to go off to college and then kind of come back to Riverdale. So it'll be really nice to kind of see what they've all got up to, what lives they've had since they've all been together, and then when they are all reunited, what that's going to look like. So I cannot wait to see what the next season of Riverdale has in store. It's unfortunate that they weren't able to conclude all of the storylines due to the pandemic, but that being said, I feel like that videotape ending for the end of season 4 was really, really strong, and I cannot wait to see where all of these storylines will go in season 5. So overall, I do love Riverdale. I love the cast and characters. I love all of the crazy storylines. I love the whole setting. I think it's such a brilliant show. It's just unfortunate that this season wasn't as great as the other seasons have been. They've definitely had great moments in this season, but I just feel like overall it just wasn't as great as it definitely could have been, or as much as it really should have been as well. And so for all of those reasons, I'm going to give season 4 of Riverdale a 4.5 out of 10. I'd love to hear what you think, so please let me know in the comment section below. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you in my next video.